Yes, pitch matters. Pitch doesn't matter is a myth that I've seen getting a lot of traction online recently. It comes from a simple overcorrection. During the 1970s, due to a lack of proper research into the technique of gendered voice alteration, there became a consolidation around pitch increase as the primary feminizing feature in voice training. And even though studies in the following years added a lot of valuable information about vocal weight, resonance, stylistic features, and more, not every SLP or voice coach implemented these changes or even fully understood them. It's important to note that almost all of the voice professionals working with trans people up until around the 2010s were cis people, meaning that they didn't have first-hand experience with the process. As online communities about voice training started to be formed by trans people, the pitch-only approach to voice training started receiving backlash, and rightfully so. A lot of foundational voice training guides focused a lot more on resonance than pitch, and over time, this new focus on resonance started getting misconstrued as oppositional to pitch. That brings us to today, where vocal guides across the internet will tell you straight up that pitch doesn't matter. Now, I believe that incorporating pitch into our understanding of voice training is positive for exploring, developing, and maintaining a feminine voice. Now, if you have a fuzzy understanding about what pitch actually is, it is basically the note that you are phonating at when you speak or sing. I am going to quickly demonstrate some pitch variation, and I would encourage you to do the same. Ah, oh, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Our voice during that demonstration went higher and lower, which is the spectrum that we hear pitches along. This is what our voice sounds like when we keep our pitch the same, but we alter our resonance. There you heard a lot of changes to the resonance, to the size, to the vowels, but the pitch stayed the same. How high and how low we typically go during speech is how we define pitch ranges. I deny the allegations that Vocal Team has been bought by Big Blahaj, all right? We just received a sizable campaign donation. To get the obvious out of the way, those who have undergone a testosterone-based puberty, on average, have lower pitches than those who haven't. That on its own is enough to make it something worth considering implementing in practice. What timbre of voice you are able to create is partially determined by what pitch range you are speaking in. If our pitch range is too low, it can even affect our fullness. Okay, so if you have any familiarity with fullness, you might be wondering what pitch has to do with it. It's not size or weight, right? Size and weight are thought to be the only vocal features that affect your fullness. And while they are the two vocal features that determine whether a voice sounds full mask, overfull, underfull, or full femme, or any other combination of size and weight, pitch plays a part in determining whether these voices can even be made, especially for the femme-leaning ones. I'd like to introduce a concept that I call the Full-Fem Forcefield. It's a barrier around our target voice formed by too low of a pitch. If our pitch is too low, our full femme sounds are going to be warped. Let me demonstrate.
I'm gonna start underfull and get smaller towards a full femme voice. One, 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 one.
That was weird. It almost got creaky. Let's try that same thing going from overfull to full femme by reducing our weight.
One, 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 one.
That's also weird. The same thing happened. What's going on? Let's try it again at a higher pitch.
Starting underfull and getting smaller. One.
One, one, one. Okay, so we're actually able to fully phonate now. Let's do the same thing again with overfull to full femme.
One, 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 one.
we're back to normal. You see, the higher your pitch is, the more full fem you're able to get without going into vocal creak. There is kind of a way around this.
If you get like especially airy and breathy at a lower pitch, you can produce a pretty convincing full fem voice. And I understand that this is probably a desirable vocal quality for some of y'all out there.
But if you're interested in an efficient full fem voice, if you go down there, it's gonna be crackly. This is why I preach that pitch is pretty integral to address when feminizing your voice, because there are certain useful voices that can't be made depending on how high or how low you are.
So let's try this as an exploration. We're gonna start on this pitch under full, and we're gonna get smaller. Hello, 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 hello.
Now let's start over full and we're gonna get lighter. Hello, 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 hello.
Controlling your pitch is also important for the process of normalizing your new trans voice. Pitch is the vocal feature that we change the most during speech. In fact, we do it all the time. Otherwise, we would sound like robots that don't change our pitch at all. Beep, boop, beep, bop.
This change in pitch that we do all the time is called intonation.
Now, because we have intonation, a feminized voice is susceptible to a gradual pitch drop-off over time throughout speech. And even more insidiously, sometimes we won't even notice them. This is a common pattern I will see in my students, where we will start up really high, but like through gradual intonation changes, we're going to see our voice drop into a different spot very insidiously. Like I don't even notice that my voice has changed all this much because it's been going up and down so much. But you have to remember that we started up here in this place and we ended down here in this place. Keeping yourself light, relaxed, loose at these higher pitches is a great way to keep your voice high. But if you catch yourself slipping in pitch over time, it's oftentimes a sign that something else is happening. In that previous example, as I got lower in pitch, my voice actually got a little bit heavier. So it's not exactly like we want to have hands-on control of our pitch on a micro level. That's going to create unnatural intonation, and it's going to take our focus away from what we should be focusing on, communication. But keep an eye out for your voice gradually getting lower over time, because it might be a sign that other things, such as size or weight, are also slacking. Here's a fun little exploration for you. In ideal scenarios, as you go lower in pitch, your voice actually starts to get quieter and eventually cuts out. That is a great way to keep your voice in place. I want you to repeat that pitch drag down and then do it on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause the video and give that one a try. Now, it shouldn't be an unnatural cutoff. It should be as though you just literally cannot phonate any lower than that. After that, try to translate it into typical intonated speech. Hi, my name is Altamira, and see if you can stay in that pitch range the entire time. And if it starts to leave that pitch range, it'll be a little bit easier to notice because you'll be sort of primed to hear what the pitch range should be, which is up here. I think it gets lost on people that if you were to go up to some average Joe on the side of the street and ask them what's the difference between a male voice and a female voice, they would probably go,
I don't know. I guess men have lower voices.
Of course, we know that there are other features as well, that it's more complicated than that, and that's super important for voice feminization. But we know that there is a bimodal distribution of male and female pitch ranges, that there are certain voices that are pitch dependent, and that keeping our pitch in place is one of the best ways to maintain a feminine voice. Saying that pitch isn't important in voice training doesn't make things easier for the student, but it does hold us back from exploring everything that our voice is capable of doing.
Be open to pitch, because pitch is open to you.
Very well said, Blahaj. You get a tax break